Hello and welcome to Sports Tonight on Channels Television. I am Tayo Salam. Of course, it's a Thursday night, so that means Austin Okonakman is ready to ride shotgun with me as well. He's back in the cockpit, and together we're going to be piloting this plane from Lagos to London and to Qatar. Austin, what's up? How are you?
Sport greetings to you, Tayo, and of course our viewers joining us from different parts of the world. Always an action-packed world of sports, and I'm super pumped up to be on the show tonight. Qatar will get us talking to you about the end of the year, Tayo.
I know, Austin. I was going to ask you, like, the mini break, the 2-day break, is it starting to feel like 22 days to you? Because it feels like they haven't played a single match for over 2 weeks now.
I know, because when the action started, we just wanted it, to keep going and going on.
Yeah.
So I woke up today and I actually had to go check if there was a World Cup, fixture. So we missed the action. We cannot wait for it to return.
We can't wait for it to return starting tomorrow and Saturday as well too. Of course, we're going to be doing a comprehensive preview of those games involving Morocco, especially because they'll be flying Africa's flag in Qatar. Of course, there's also blockbuster ties involving France and England, Argentina and the Netherlands. Of course, Brazil looking to win their 6th title. They'll be taking on Croatia. They're 3 games away from doing just that. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see how these games pan out, Austin.
It's going to be an action-packed quarterfinal fixtures right there at the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. I particularly want to see what Morocco can do when they file out in that quarterfinal match, because everyone is talking about Morocco at the moment, so it will be good to see them, do the unthinkable right there at the World Cup. And also the Netherlands, that's one team that I actually talked about before the start of the competition, so it will be good to see them do something, beautiful at the World Cup.
You're spot on. We can't wait for the action to definitely return at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Yesterday, Austin, you were not with me, but FIFA President Gianni Infantino said, without mincing words, that Qatar 2022 produced the best ever group stage in World Cup history. Today, he's been talking about his expectations for the rest of the tournament as well. So we're going to listen to FIFA President Gianni Infantino. We'll come back. The show will continue.
Well, of course, we hope that the World Cup continues and concludes as it has started. Fantastic success. I'm sure that we will reach the 5 billion viewers around the world. When it comes to stadiums attendances, the stadiums are sold out, full practically in every match. The fan festival, the different fan zones are also very crowded with people celebrating and enjoying. At the end, we simply want to give some joy and some smiles to people all over the world. That's what football is about. That's what the World Cup is about. And that's what should happen from now as well till the end. We have already seen some great action on the field, which finally is most important part of what we do. Some of the biggest stars performing very, very well.
Welcome back to Sports Tonight on Channels Television. You just listened to FIFA President Gianni Infantino speaking ahead of the continuation of the FIFA World Cup. That is the round of 16 and the quarterfinals going into the semifinals as well. So, Austin Okonakman, what's up? What's your take on what Gianni Infantino has just said? Okay, Austin Okonakman is not ready, so I'm going to get on with the show. Also, we're looking to get our guest on the show. Bada Kitide Johnson is going to be joining us as well too. So while we wait for Bada, let's carry on with the show by taking you through the fixtures for the quarterfinals. All right, we're still waiting for Bada to join us, but let's take a look at the quarterfinal fixtures at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Of course, I already mentioned very interesting games for you. Okay, Of course, I already mentioned very interesting games for you. There's going to be the Netherlands taking on Argentina. There's also Croatia taking on Brazil. Of course, there's also Morocco versus Portugal, as well as England versus France. So those are your quarterfinal fixtures are for you at the FIFA World Cup in Brazil. The first one is going to be between Croatia and Brazil, 4 p.m. Nigerian time. That's going to be on Friday, while the Netherlands will take on Argentina. It's going to be 8 p.m. on Friday as well, too. While the remaining 2 games will be played on Saturday. It's going to involve, of course, Africa's representatives. Morocco, they'll be daring the might of Portugal, while the second game is going to be between England and France. And those 2 games will definitely get us talking on the show. Let's go straight away to the preview of the match between Netherlands and Argentina. We're going to listen to the captain of the Netherlands, Virgil van Dijk. He's been talking about the game against the Argentina. Of course, Andres Noppert is going to be tasked with the responsibility of stopping Lionel Messi and the other Argentine players from scoring. We'll take a listen to the 2 players now, and we'll come back for more on Sport this morning.
There is hunger, there is dreams, there is that feeling that you obviously, when you participate in the World Cup, you want to be able to get it. And, we know in the quarterfinals, we know that you are 3 games away from glory. You could be 3 games away from glory. And we are in this position right now. We want to show, we want to perform and leave it all on the pitch and hopefully get success. And this is our opportunity. And hopefully we can enjoy the opportunity and go through as well.
Yeah, it depends about the moment, but I'm always ready for that. And he can also miss, and we see it in the beginning of this tournament. So he's always, he is the same like us. He's a human. And he's not, for sure he's good, but for sure I can catch the penalties.
You're welcome back. That's Andres Noppert, the goalkeeper for the Netherlands, speaking ahead of the game against Argentina in the quarterfinals of the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Like I said earlier, our guest is ready to join us now. Father Kitude Johnson is going to be helping us do a comprehensive preview of the games of the last stage of the competition. Bada, good evening. It's great to have you on the show again.
Good evening, Tayo. Compliments of the season to the viewers at home and to Austin as well. Always a pleasure to join you guys on the show.
All right. I know you are champion at the beat as well, too, to talk about these games. 2 days of no football has definitely gotten to a lot of us because we were spoiled with games starting from the start of the competition. But it's upon us now. Starting tomorrow, we're going to get to see very interesting matches starting between Brazil and Croatia. Of course, like I said, Brazil are looking to win their 6th title. And you have to say, from the evidence of what we've seen so far, they're looking very, very good.
They look good, except for the blip against the Cameroonians. And you could argue that there was not much riding on that game for them, having secured qualification from the first 2 games. But the bounce back in style against the Koreans, winning so emphatically in that game, it looked like the Brazilians could have gone on to score 7-8 if they wanted. They have so much quality from back to front and to spare on the bench, even with the fact that they've lost Gabriel Jesus, the Arsenal striker who has now undergone surgery. They still look very frightening. Richarlison is having the tournament of his life, scoring goals, taking players on, going on busy runs. He just looks like a completely different player than the player we see playing for Spurs. Since he joined Spurs, he hasn't exactly scored up to 5 goals, but looks a different player at the World Cup. Looks like Tite gets the best out of him based on the formation that they play and the quality of the players around him. Critically, last game, Neymar came back, was man of the match, scored a penalty, has overcome his injury, his ankle injury worries sufficiently to be able to participate. And he'll be looking forward to another stellar showing to lead his wards, his guides, his fellow generals into the next round of the competition. But this Croatian team are very, very plucky opposition. They are very difficult to beat. The strength is in the collective, in the organization, in the discipline. They defend competently. In midfield, that's where they have much of their quality, with Kovacic from Chelsea, with Modric, the veteran. The quality that took them all the way the last time out is still very much evident in that midfield. Ivan Perisic, on his last legs, but still going strong, played 120 minutes the last round, was running tirelessly, was taking players on, whipping in crosses, and even helped himself to a goal against the Japanese. So Brazil will be mistaken if they think that this will be a stroll in the park, because there are no easy games at this level of the tournament. This Croatian team is experienced. They've got big tournament experience. Of course, they were in the finals of the last one. And they have a very lovely mix of youth and experience. They brought in a few new players who brought the right energy and mentality, the drive, the intensity, to complement the experience of the likes of Perisic, Modric, and co. And they've kept the consistency of 4 years going by not changing the manager. It's the same manager from the last tournament that is still very much in charge here. So the Croatians will pretty much shape up to be difficult to break down, difficult to beat. We've seen it as a recurring theme throughout this competition. The stronger team has all the possession, like Spain did against Morocco, like Germany did against Korea, like we've seen so many teams do and fail to win games. They have all the possession, but if they can't have that incision, that penetration to break down low blocks, to break down the other team playing so many men behind the ball and score, then the lesser team, or the team with the lesser possession, has always gone on this competition to win most of the game. And we'll see a similar pattern tomorrow. But you look at the quality of that Brazilian team. Vinicius Junior, last game was unbelievable. Scored a brilliant goal, laid on a brilliant assist for the West Ham man, Paqueta. So it looks to me like, yeah, Brazil are hot favorites, but they still have to do the job. And they know that for their guys back home, anything short of this victory will be interpreted as failure, because they came into this tournament as hot favorites. They are the best team in the world. FIFA ranking says so. And they hit the ground running. 2 wins from the first 2 games qualified, lost to Cameroon, but we can discount that because they were already through to the next round, rested a lot of players. But then bounced back in emphatic fashion, put Korea to the sword. And then they go into this game knowing that the whole world expects them to win. And if dial it back to 2014, they were disappointed in the semifinals, hammered by Germany in front of their home fans. The last time out, they lost to Belgium 2-1, I think, in the round of 16. This time around, they know that they've got a big chance. Because if you look at the draws, the way the draws have been made, if they get past Croatia, then they play Argentina, or the winner of Argentina or Netherlands. Another opportunity for them to potentially avenge the loss at the last Copa America final to Argentina, and then go on to meet the winners between France or England and the guys in the other draw. So I think Brazil will go through. It's just going to be a much tighter game than we all expect.
But before we leave Brazil and Croatia game and get into Argentina and the Netherlands, Croatia, it's an aging team. It's a team that understands that on a good day, they can have football go their way. And they draw any motivation from the results that Cameroon had over Brazil?
Without a doubt, that result that Cameroon got was earned on the back of solid tactical setup. They were very, very dogged. You see, when teams set up in that way, and I looked at the Moroccan performance against Spain as a masterclass in coaching, and I was particularly delighted because it was an African manager who executed that tactical master plan. So usually when teams set up with a low block, what the team that has the possession is trying to do is to stretch them. That's why teams always play, to the wings. They stretch them, they move players around, they move them out of position, and then quick passing, threaded ball over the top, a man who's shifted out of his position, someone runs in behind, exploits that space. But you know what the Moroccans did? Every time you shifted them out of position, they got right back into position. A case in point, or special mention, Amrabat, who covered almost every blade of grass. Every time his colleagues were drawn out of position, he filled in it almost immediately and gave that person an opportunity to go back and keep that shape, in place. So it will take a lot of work, trust me, because the Brazilians have multiple dimensions through which they attack. So they are not a team that is just going to be whipping crosses in for the Croatian defenders to defend with their height. And of course, if you're talking about height, they've got a player like Dejan Lovren. We know him from his Liverpool days, and he was phenomenal against the Japanese. He got his head to everything that was put into the box and also helped himself to an assist in that one. So the Brazilians, unlike the Japanese, are not just going to be lumping balls. They're not going to go route one. They've got clever players who play on the half turn, who can play in tight spaces, who know how to manipulate the ball and use very, very small spaces to move around and make things happen. So it will have to be even a bigger performance than Morocco delivered against the Spanish for Croatia to go. What they'll be looking to do, which they do well, is to score through dead ball situations, because they're not going to create so many chances not having the ball against the Brazilians. So that when they have the free kicks, when they have the penalties, they are going to try to impose themselves, because they do have big players, especially their central defenders going forward. And once they get that goal, they will defend it with their life.
Let's talk about the Netherlands-Argentina quickly. Is it a game that can go anywhere?
I think that if the Argentines are favorites, and I said it on this show the last time I was here, that Argentina losing to Saudi Arabia deservedly got them a lot of disrespect. But we still have to consider what the facts are. This team went 3 years without a single defeat at the highest level of international football. You don't achieve that by being a bad team. You don't. So, yes, they lost to Saudi Arabia because they obviously underestimated and underrated the team. And in some 5 crazy second half minutes, Saudi Arabia scored 2, and Argentina couldn't get a goal to even tie the game. But then, Austin, one of the best blessings that can happen to a great team is for them to lose at a time in the competition when it doesn't cost them. Spain lost their very first game at the 2010 World Cup to Switzerland. They went on to win that competition because all of the mistakes that they made early on, they quickly corrected. They quickly switched back on. And that looks to me like what this Argentine team has done. The moment Messi scored that goal against Mexico, something snapped. They started to play the game that won them Copa America, that got them, the standout team in the South America qualification group. Messi started to, influence things a lot more. The likes of McAllister, the likes of Rodrigo de Paul have run like their lives dependent on running in this competition. What I love about this Argentine team is that there are so many dimensions to their game. In the past, Argentine teams have come to this competition trying to outplay teams. It's about the flair. It's about the creativity, the quality of the passing and the movement. But this Argentine team actually is a master of the dark arts. They are the ones who have committed the most fouls immediately the opposition regained possession. The moment there's a turnover, someone makes a clever foul, for which most of the time they don't get booked. That's something that... Exactly. That's one of the things that made Pep Guardiola's Barcelona so successful. Busquets was the man who always made most of those fouls. He would make the technical foul so quickly when the opposition gets the ball, so he doesn't look as cynical. He doesn't get carded. This Argentine team does that a lot. The moment there's a turnover, someone makes the foul. The moment there's a turnover, someone makes a foul.
They refresh. But I'm just going to pause you. I'm loving it. I'm loving the analysis. In Sports Tonight on Channels Television, we're talking about the 2022 FIFA World Cup quarterfinal fixtures, definitely juicy. But on Saturday, it's the big one between the Three Lions, England and France. We'll talk about it when we come back from the break. Don't go anywhere. Stay. Welcome back to Sports Tonight on your award-winning sports-loving Channels Television. We're talking about the 2022 FIFA World Cup quarter-final fixtures upon us now. We have Bada Akintunde Johnson breaking it down for us on the show. I'm with my colleague Tayo. Tayo, I'm sure you cannot wait to see France take on England.
Yeah, I can't wait for France versus England. Of course, Austin, I'm sure you've been paying close attention to what Kyle Walker has been saying about, the prospect of facing Kylian Mbappe. He says pretty much that he's not going to be rolling the red carpet for Kylian Mbappe. It's a do-or-die game. But before we get to the England and France game, which looks to be the pick of the park for Saturday. Let's talk about the one involving African representatives. I'm talking about Morocco taking on Portugal on the back of that stunning victory over Spain. You have to say Morocco will go into that game feeling very, very confident that they could do a job on Portugal as well too, because if you've watched Morocco play all through the competition, you'd see how disciplined they are tactically. As a matter of fact, they haven't considered a goal to the opposition in this tournament. The only goal they've considered was via an own goal, and they shut out the likes of Croatia, Spain, and Belgium. So it tells you a lot about the character and the mentality of this Moroccan side. And Portugal, if they're thinking they're going to have a stroll in the park like they did against Switzerland, I'm sure they will be very, very shocked on Saturday when they face off against Morocco at the Al Tumama Stadium, 4 p.m. Nigerian time. That's when it's going to start. But let me bring you into this game, Morocco versus Portugal. What are their realistic chances? I'm talking about Morocco now, of actually becoming the first African side to reach the semifinals of a FIFA World Cup?
I think that they've got a big chance of making history. What I think they need to prove to us is that they've recovered from the exertions of running around for 120 minutes and defending every potential gap and opening against the Spanish when they come out against this Portuguese team that seems to have found some new firepower in some of these young players. The last game, they got a youngster who's helped himself to a hat-trick. They have Rafael Leao, who came off the bench, who scored as well. Ronaldo, to have Ronaldo, even one who's dwindling in his powers on the bench, speaks in itself of the sort of firepower that this Portuguese team has got. And I think what distinguishes Portugal from Spain, to be honest, is that in terms of the general quality of play and style, they're quite similar. But whereas the Spaniards will move the ball and make 1,000 passes without necessarily getting a shot on target, this Portuguese team doesn't exactly over-elaborate. They have very sure points of attack, and they've got players who can strike. And so the question is, does this Moroccan team, which obviously once again will be on the back foot for most of the game, do they have enough in the tank to do the hard work that will be required to shut out this Portuguese team? I think they will have to score a couple of goals. The strikers they've got in this competition haven't exactly really, scored so many goals, but they also have, as you said, haven't conceded at all from the opposition. Agued got the only goal they've unfortunately considered in this competition, so it was an own goal. So I feel like the Portuguese will score, but Morocco will score too, because when they do go forward, they cause problems. Against Spain, especially in extra time, they actually created the better chances. So I think that the motivation, the incentive is so great for Morocco. They are on the cusp of history, as you said, to become the first African team since 1930 to go as far as the last four of the FIFA World Cup. Nothing is bigger than that. And you look at the profile of that team, they've got experienced young players. Hakim Ziyech looks like a player who's been around forever, but he's only in his mid-20s. I think he's 24, 25. Hugely experienced at the top level, playing for Ajax, playing for Chelsea, playing in the Champions League. Amrabat, I spoke of initially. Monster. We hear some of the top clubs in Europe are making inquiries about his services. He's delivered one of the standout individual performances of the competition we've seen so far against the Spanish team, against the youth of the likes of Pedri and Gavi. He actually outran every one of them, and he would need to produce another, similar performance. So it's about recovery for this Moroccan team, because obviously that performance against Spain must have taken something significant away from them from a physical standpoint. But they've also had a bit of time to rest and recover, and they would have to go again against this Portuguese team. The Portuguese will dominate play. They would have most of the ball. They will try and move them around. They will try and thread balls through, play balls over the top, make angles through which they can shoot. they'll be much of an attacking threat, much more of an attacking threat than Spain was, without a doubt. But I think that the solidarity that this Moroccan team has, and the spirit of an entire continent of 1.3, 1.4 billion people willing them on will be, very powerful, and can prove a factor on the day when they know that if they play like their lives depend on it, they can make it.
All right, well said, Austin.
Yeah, Tyler, I was just saying that, yes, they understand the mission, but do you think they'll be under any form of pressure to deliver? Will that also affect their performance?
No, not at all. They come in as underdogs. They played almost every game as underdogs in this one, except maybe the game against Canada. They played against Belgium, the second highest ranked team in the world. They won 2-0. And you see, it's football 101 when you say that when you don't concede, you always have a chance to win a game. Simplistic as it sounds, it is the reality of football. The Belgians had most of the possession, but they didn't get through. And on the breakaway, Morocco scored 2. Since the game against Spain, it's been sour grapes from some of the Spanish players, particularly Rodri of Manchester City, who's been saying, oh, the Moroccans did nothing in the game. They were too negative. But all of that is water on the back of
sour grapes, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. So these guys know that the style they play is nothing to be ashamed of. They're a small team. Nobody gave them a chance to be in this competition, or to be, to go this far in the competition. So they've got nothing to lose. I don't think there's the pressure there. I think that if anything, the Portuguese will be the ones under pressure, because their neighbors, who actually are even more successful at this competition, have been dumbed out by this team. So they are the ones who have to prevent a similar calamity falling them. If the Moroccans lose the game, they still go out as heroes. They are just trying to go one better to make history. And this team has the energy. They've got incredible intensity with which they press. Everyone does it together. They're always pressing. They're always denying time and space. They're harrying, they're hassling, they're tackling. And critically, cleanly too. No red cards so far. They haven't picked up many yellow cards. For a team that spent so much time defending, they do it expertly. And you've got to give them credit. And I think for that, they've got a chance.
All right, I totally agree with what you said, your analysis. But they're very, very clean in the tackle, and that's why they have been so good in this competition. And I also agree with you saying, in terms of pressure, definitely Portugal will be the team under the pressure coming into this game, not Morocco. No one gave them a chance coming into this competition in Qatar, and they've gone all the way to the last day. Let me just say that the two sides have met twice at a FIFA World Cup before. Morocco won the first clash in 1986, 3-1. But the next time they met, that was in 2018 in Russia, just 4 years ago. It was Portugal prevailing by a lone goal. So it's even Stevens between both sides going into the game on Saturday. We'll see how it pans out. Of course, as Africans, we're hoping and wishing that Morocco will get the job done to become the first team to reach the semifinals of a FIFA World Cup. Let's go on to the big game of the day now, the second one on Saturday between France and England. Yes, those two teams will be facing off for sports in the last Sports World Tour. And like I said earlier, Kyle Walker has had a lot to say about this game, especially coming up against Kylian Mbappe. We're going to go over to Kyle Walker now, get his pre-match thoughts, and when we come back, but Akitunde Johnson will be analyzing this particular game. Join us again.
I think the game's not England v Mbappe, the game's England v France. As I just said there, we take respect that he's a good player in good form at the minute, but I'm not going to roll out a red carpet for him and tell him to go and score. Okay, he's a tool that they've got in their armoury that's very good. But there is other good players, and we can't underestimate them players that have won big titles, won World Cups. So, okay, he's a great player. We all know that. That's why all the questions are about him. But let's not forget Giroud, who scored countless goals for France and in the Premier League. Dembele, who's, for me, just as good on the other wing, and a very tricky player. And then you've got Griezmann and stuff like this, that these players can cause you a problem. So, okay, we take her out of him. He's a great player, but for me, all the questions probably shouldn't be about him. We should appreciate that we're seeing a great footballer, but there is other players as well.
There you go, Kyle Walker speaking ahead of Saturday's game against Kylian Mbappe and France. Of course, has had very interesting things to say, very strong words, no red carpets, and it's going to be a do or die affair. Bada, let me come to you straight away. Obviously, Kylian Mbappe versus Kyle Walker is going to be a key battle in this matchup between England and France. We do think it's going to come out on top, considering these two guys are speed stars, but apparently Kylian Mbappe is just a bit faster.
Well, we've seen it before. PSG played City in the Champions League. We've seen two speed demons go head-to-head. We saw that's Kyle Walker, play against Vinicius Jr. before he got injured in the semi-finals that City lost to Real Madrid last season. Vinicius Jr., another rapid player, another speed demon. If you play on the wing, or if you play as a right wing back, you're most often than not going to come up against speed demons. The problem here is that this is a different kind of demon. This Kylian Mbappe guy scores goals for fun. He scores goals for fun. And if you saw the goals he scored in the last game, it wasn't really about speed. It was about precision finishing.
Yeah.
He got into position and he picked his spot. And Moses Chesney, who had prior to that time been the standout goalkeeper in the competition, thwarting top quality players after top quality player, particularly against Argentina, even saved the Messi penalty. Mbappe made him look like, just any regular goalkeeper with the quality of his finishing. And that's what the English have to be wary of, because there's no way you stop him from getting into goal-scoring positions, because in the middle of the park with Tchouaméni, Griezmann, and those players, they're always going to find the balls over the top or find balls in behind to free Kylian Mbappe. Dembele is also similarly tricky on the other wing, and of course the physical presence and aerial threat of Olivier Giroud is always going to trouble teams. And if you look at that England defense, yes, Harry Maguire hasn't exactly been the calamity that most people said it was going to be, but you can see that between himself and John Stones, if they are asked the right questions, if they are tested, if they are pressured, they can cave in. And that's where I have my worries. I don't doubt that they've got quality England going forward in midfield. Bellingham has been imperious. Jordan Henderson has come in and done a good job. Declan Rice looks phenomenal, has been excellent since the beginning of the competition. Going forward, Kane, Foden, Saka have been excellent as well. And England has scored many goals in this competition, particularly in the last game, the first and the last game. First game, they scored 6. The last one against Senegal, they also scored a lot of goals. I know that they will score. England will score. The question is, can they stop Mbappe, Giroud, Dembele, Griezmann from scoring more goals? Because they definitely, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I think the French just have more quality. And you see, when at least the last two tournaments, last semifinals of the last World Cup in Russia, when England came up against Croatia, they were found wanted. Finals of the Euro Championships, which they hosted against Italy, they were found wanting. This French team won the last World Cup. This French team won the last UEFA Nations League. They've got big tournament temperament to spare. And I think that's what edges this for them. They've got more winners in their team at this level than the English have. Right. And that's not to say that it's going to be easy, because I think that these English also have matured. I particularly love the look of that central midfield for England. They look impregnable. They've got players with the physical attributes to run all day, to graft, and they've also got quality. Jude Bellingham, particularly, So I think that England will cause France a lot of headaches, especially on the breakaway. But the French are just going to be too strong.
That's
They'll have
right.
too much quality, especially.
Let's get on with the conversation. Everyone talking about Kylian Mbappe, but Olivier Giroud is another dangerous player for France, and he's been commenting ahead of the game against the Three Lions of England. Let's listen to him right back.
For England, they so far they had the good tournament. I hope they will have a tough game on Saturday, and I know very well this team, and we say each other with. We were talking with Hugo each other regarding this game, and we said, we don't wanna lose against England. That's a special game for us, but yeah. We are looking forward for this game. They have so many great players, a young generation, like us, if I can say. I think they have quality but quantity also in the squad, so they have different options. It will be a nice game to watch, I think, interesting, and I hope it's gonna go well. It's gonna go well for us.
Definitely it's going to be a nice game to watch, and Olivier Giroud is optimistic it will go well for the French team. But now, before we leave this England-France conversation, make a prediction. Come on, be bold tonight.
I think France wins it 3-2.
3-2.
All right.
Tayo, do you think England will win it 2-1?
No, don't do that, Austin. Nah. Let's leave it to Bada to make the prediction, and that's exactly what is done. But I think France should come out on top as well. Too. But one thing is certain, that we're in for a fantastic 2 days of quarterfinal action at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. All right, let's get on with the show now, and let's talk about fallouts coming from the FIFA World Cup. Spain were beaten by Morocco in the last 16 clash, and a lot of people were wondering what's going to happen to Luis Enrique now. Yeah, we have the story. Luis Enrique is no longer the coach of Spain. He's now left following Spain's house star in the last 16 of the World Cup. But you'd say this is not a surprise at all, because the Spaniards came into this competition with a lot of very high expectations. So to go out in the round of 16 must have been very, very disappointing.
Of course, Spanish fans have had a lot of complaints about the style of play. They haven't exactly liked the look of their team, which is quite interesting, because their first game they scored 7 against Costa Rica, and everyone thought that they had come to show just how great going forward, and how much of an attacking force that they are. But interesting to see their fans saying that they didn't create a lot of chances, they didn't really excite, they didn't play like your normal Spanish teams from the past have done. And you see, if you make the kind of bold calls that he's made coming into this competition, going with a lot of youth, trusting Pedri and Gavi in central midfield, as well as, dropping David De Gea, trusting Unai Simon in between the sticks, you are always going to be liable or be, risking this sort of decision ultimately, because when they go right, like they almost did at the Euros, where they went as far, I think, as the semi-finals before they lost to Italy, you are hailed as a hero. But when it backfires and it doesn't go your way, you are also shown the door. So I think that between the Spanish FA and Luis Enrique, there was a mutual decision that the best for both parties was for him to move on. And he's moved on now. They promoted the former under 21 guy to take charge of the Spanish team. They're going through some kind of transition. They, to be fair, haven't had the best of times, especially in front of goals. If you have Alvaro Morata, you have Ferran Torres and Dani Olmo, players like that. They're not accomplished goal scorers at the highest level. And the only allegation I could level against them, really, or the only negative I could pick out from how they played over the course of this competition was just that, lack of penetration and incisiveness. They just didn't carry enough threats in the attacking third against low blocks, against teams that defended deep. The Costa Ricans were open, so they picked them apart and just created chance after chance and scored 7 of them. But against a team that was dogged in defense, that played numbers behind the ball, they just didn't find enough answers to all of those defensive the questions they were asked. So Luis Enrique says he's going back into club football, where, of course, he's managed Celta Vigo, managed Roma, managed Barcelona. It's a territory and terrain that he's very familiar with. We'll wait and see what club he goes to next. But the Spanish national FA has flipped a new chapter, and we'll have to see what sort of writings the new guy makes on the page.
That's it. That's football for you. But on the flip side, Germany, with an abysmal performance, said they're going to keep Flick. I don't understand. Do you, Bada?
I think I do in a bit of a way, because the successful German teams of the past have built their success on consistency and stability. Joachim Löw stayed in charge for donkey years before they eventually won the World Cup in 2014. And so they're thinking, let's give this guy who was successful at Bayern a bit more chance. Some of the things that went bad for him was trusting experience over youth. The likes of Leon Goretzka, the likes of Ilkay Gundogan, the likes of Thomas Müller on their last legs were trusted over young, exciting players. And even within the squad, there was a lot of infighting. Players like the Chelsea man, Kai Havertz, felt like they didn't get enough minutes to play. And let's not also forget, they suffered some critical injuries in attack. They missed the pace of Timo Werner, particularly. If you saw them in qualifying, they were frightening going forward because of Werner's pace, because of Leroy Sané's pace. Leroy Sané came into the competition with an injury, didn't start. Serge Gnabry as well, started slowly in the competition. So they know that there's not a lot that they need to change to get back to winning ways. Let those old guys, Müller and co, go out of the door. Maybe Manuel Neuer will stay because he's still, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. But even if he moves, they've got Barcelona's goalkeeper Ter Stegen, who's top quality as well to step in. So I think that they've made a bold call, but it's a call that I understand because Hansi Flick has the ingredients that he needs to build a winning team. Most of it, he's got them within that squad. The likes of Jamal Musiala have shown that at the top level, their youth is not a disadvantage. They've got the quality. They're old enough, they're good enough. And he'll just need to freshen the team up in certain critical areas, and they'll be good.
It's tough to understand how Germany kept stayed on with us. Hopefully, the future will not give pictures that are flickering. Thank you so much, Bada, for your time on the show tonight. Bring you back again right after the quarterfinal games are played. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Bada.
All right, so that's it. Bada Akintunde Johnson talking to us all about the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Tayo, make me understand. Germany staying with Flick.
I don't know if I can make you understand, but I think Bada said it all. It's all about continuity for Germany. And guess what? They'll be hosting Euro 2024 right there on home soil. So it's going to be another test for Hansi Flick's credentials as the coach of the German machines. Anyways, that's it for the FIFA World Cup. Before we close the show, let's give you updates on the sports festival going on in Deltas. And of course, Delta State still setting the pace. 194 gold medals, 116 silver, and 59 bronze medals for a total of 369. But Yelsa are starting to make a move, but I think it's a bit too late now. They're on 78 golds, 57 silver medals, and 54 bronze medals for a total of 189. They're still miles behind Delta State. Edo State is 38. 51 and 97. They're on 186. So that's what it's looking like, the top three at the National Sports Festival, the 21st edition. Delta once again proving very, very dominant. That they are indeed the best when it comes to sports on the home scene. All right, so that's it for the show. Austin Okonapan, thank you for being a part of it. Thank you all for watching as well. Enjoy the rest of your day and your night. I am Tayo Salam.
So that's the show. Congratulations to Delta in advance. They're going to win the National Sports Festival in London. I'm Austin Okonakwan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.